Please
Yeah,
send me your bank account
yeah,
information for my wire. Why do you become an actor? It's because you're going, look at me, look at me, look at
yeah.
where you are lit up by the act of creation. I was the only guy in it. So there's only one part for a guy in the whole play, and I was
Wow.
fortunate enough to get it.
All right, so hello everybody. Welcome back to Against the Current, the Chosen podcast. As of right now, the biggest podcast about the Chosen TV series. And today I have a very special guest. Everybody, please welcome Noah James to the podcast. Say hi, Noah.
I'm hearing the applause,
Yeah, I
the
know.
imaginary applause
It
as
always feels weird
walk
to say
out
that
on
when there's just two of us here, but
it.
um,
No, but thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to have you. We all love you. I actually have some. I reached out on Facebook to the Chosen fan club before this interview like a few hours ago, and I just put it out to everybody like if anybody has any questions for you. So there's like a couple like a
Oh,
good bit of
great.
questions that we could go through. Like I was thinking closer to the end. And I
Sure.
knew you wouldn't see any of them beforehand since you don't have Facebook.
And thank you for saying that because there
Yeah.
is some dude who is like the bane of all of our existences on the show who just pretends to be a lot of us.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no.
yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like straight up scamming people out of money. So please be careful if you're out there speaking to, who you think are from the show or whatever, especially on Facebook, because there's a lot of nefarious, stuff going on. It's really unfortunate. And I get it probably like once every few days.
Yeah.
Like, have I been speaking to you on Facebook and are you asking me for my bank account information? I'm like, I definitely am not. So yeah.
And it's funny, actually, a few minutes before I got on the thing, I actually got like a notification from a fake Noah James account on Facebook, like just a few minutes before. Um, yeah,
It's like,
there's a
hello, I look forward to being on your podcast.
yeah, yeah,
Please send
yeah,
me your bank account
yeah,
information for my wire.
yeah. I'll pay you to be on. Just send me, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so we'll probably look at those. But so you were on IMDb. It says you were born in Arizona and then you grew up in Los Angeles. So
Well, flipped. So I actually was born in Encino in California, and then we moved to Arizona when I was one. So I grew up all my childhood in Arizona.
okay. I was confused about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, but so I heard that you started acting in high school, maybe like in theater in high school. So what kind of like just from that age, my age, what kind of like ignited that spark? What was like maybe your inspiration or something to start acting? How did you get into it? What interested you? What was the deal?
yeah, I mean, I've always been sort of a performer. That was always kind of alive in me. I didn't know how that would manifest itself as I grew up, but when I was in middle school, even I was like playing in a band. We used to play Green Day songs at the
Oh,
pep rallies in seventh and eighth grade. And so there was always that sort of performative part of me, even before then. And then high school, I got into a drama class, and my teacher Ches invited me to audition for the fall play, and I'd never really done that before. Like I basically picked it up as well as I could. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that I could be loud and always had maybe it's just culturally Jewish, you grow up watching Seinfeld or we loved Friends growing up. There is like a comedic element to my family and just me growing up and my friends. So I kind of knew how to turn things and make them funny,
oh,
even if I didn't know what I was technically doing. And so I think that just, yeah, that worked. And I got in, and as soon as I got into my first play, I really sort of found what that community would be like. The fact that after school, no matter how you feel about school, afterwards, you get to go to this room and with all of these sort of people from all over the place, in terms of like what they liked in school, what they didn't. We all came together to tell the story. It's a little bit like the, island of misfit toys or something. It's always sort of strange, interesting people getting into theater. Me being one of them. And so
yeah.
then I loved the collaborative process of theater of figuring out. how to make something really work, really sing, how to really tell that story and analyzing a script and kind of figuring out your role and how to make that come to life. And so I was just hooked. And then I did the spring musical, which was Guys and Dolls, and I had never like done anything like that before. I grew up playing music, so I sort of knew how to read music a little bit, but then all of a sudden I'm like on stage dancing and singing, and I just loved it. It really was the people first. And then I know this is a long answer, but by junior year, I got into the show called Jake's Women, was this Neil Simon show,
Uh,
and I was the only guy in it. So there was only one part for a guy in the whole play, and I was
oh,
fortunate enough to get it.
oh,
But then it was like all those months of work where that character never leaves the stage. And it was my first time experiencing, what living through a theatrical circumstance, if you will, moment to moment. Like there was so much material, I never knew what came next. And so it really felt like living improvisationally, which is what you dream of as an actor later. You
yeah,
always want
yeah,
it to
yeah.
be fresh and you always kind of want to be surprised.
Right.
That was my first experience with it. And by the end of that, I was like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
So Bo Burnham described. Do you know who Bo Burnham is?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah. He described and The Art Is Dead, his song.
Yeah.
He describes comics and actors and creatives as a little kid at a birthday party who won't stop screaming because they can't stop being the center of attention. Do you think that like because most theater kids or most actors are like you, like they just like in high school they were like, this is something I like doing, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Do you think that that's always like just you can always tell? Like it's a specific type of person to be an actor or creative, just like at a young age, there's something that makes them different from I don't
I
want to say your
don't
average person, but
I don't know. I mean, yes, there is, but not in the way I think that Bo Burnham is putting it, which a
right,
lot of
yeah,
people put it that way. It's like,
yeah,
Laurence Olivier said the same thing where he's like, why do you become an actor? It's because you're going, look at me, look at me, look at me,
yeah,
look at me.
yeah, yeah,
So I understand where that comes from, and I'm sure that is part of it. But everyone has their own sort of different journey into it. I think creatively, there is a pretty big through line with people who become actors or artists, where you are lit up by the act of creation, by,
right,
figuring out that it's a little bit of like a magic trick. You can make
mm,
a story come to life just with some words and some behavior and some movement.
right,
And so I think people who are sort of inspired by that, but not personality wise. Because if you think about all of the TV shows and films or plays, whatever that you watch, it takes all kinds.
yeah,
Like you need all kinds of people to tell all the different types of stories that there are. And
yeah,
obviously, it's not a documentary. We don't always, it's not like you're just playing yourself all the time or anything like that. But you know, I lending myself to a role, it's going to be very different from any other actor. And that's why it's so important if you really love it and you feel like it makes your heart sing. It's like really try it out and put yourself in there because no one can tell a story like you can.
no, yeah, that's
And
true.
you and I, if we were auditioning for the same part, there would be some overlap in us no matter what, but by and large, it would be pretty clear to whoever was casting the story, like which one of us sort of fits it better and take talent out of it.
Yeah,
Like if,
yeah,
if let's say everyone is at 100 for talent,
right,
you cast based on, if when you walk into the room in a brand new school, let's say, you
okay,
walk in and all the kids, turn around at their desk and they look at you. All of a sudden, all of this story is coming to them, what they sort of read from you, what they see from you. And it's going to be very different from me walking into the room. And so we can't really change that much. I mean, you sort of can, like, you know, I mean, definitely, but whatever you are in the moment, when you walk in, you already are telling a story. So we need all kinds, not just the kinds that scream as loud as possible on
right,
television, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, no, 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 that's a definitely a very cynical view on um uh talent and
But it is
creators.
point taken because he is obviously there is truth to that. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, and it's funny too. It's
yeah,
yeah.
of course.